More bad news for AT&T. AT&T being hit with dozens of class action lawsuits following data breach. Oh my goodness. This story is from April 10th. Michael Cann, the author. AT&T is facing an avalanche of class action lawsuits. So that means many. Not one, not two. Avalanche. And this after last month's data leak. Initially appeared to ensnare as many as 73 million users. A week ago, it was reported one of the first class action lawsuits stemming from the breach, but since AT&T disclosed the incident on March 30th, plaintiffs have filed approximately 30 lawsuits in Texas, where the carrier is headquartered, which allege a breach of contract. Told you AT&T $5 wasn't going to be enough. PC Mag only looked through a dozen of the complaints to avoid racking up court fees, but in those we viewed, the plaintiffs called for a class action lawsuit against AT&T, claiming that the carrier failed to safeguard consumers' personal data, including phone numbers, addresses, and in some cases, social security numbers and dates of birth. The worst part about this, guys, is that there were public cries letting AT&T know that they had been breached, and they just didn't respond. Again, another instance of how carriers don't give a shit about their customers or respect their information or their data. One of the lawsuits says, quote, "This data breach has and will lead to further devastating financial and personal losses to data breach victims." A hacking group called Shiny Hunters started selling the stolen AT&T data back in 2021, but at the time, AT&T denied that the information had come from its systems. Bullshit. The mysterious leak then came back into the spotlight last month when a new user called Major Nelson began circulating another 5 gigs archive that appeared to contain the same AT&T data. After initially dismissing the leak again, AT&T confirmed the archive's legitimacy after a security researcher found customers' AT&T passcodes in the data. See, at that point, it's undeniable. This led the company to issue a notice to consumers warning them about the breach, but in response to class action lawsuit claims, AT&T failed to implement proper cybersecurity safeguards and demand that the company pay damages to affected customers. Quote, "The data breach occurred in 2019, but AT&T did not begin informing victims until March 30th, 2024. 5 years. Not a single response or proactive, reactive move from AT&T for 5 years. During this time, plaintiff and class members were unaware that their sensitive personal identifiers had been compromised and that they were and continue to be at significant risk of identity theft and other various forms of personal, social, and financial harm. AT&T hasn't commented on the lawsuits or the origin of the leaked data. The carriers did send an official notice about the security incident to Maine's Attorney General, which says the breach affects 51 million people. Earlier this month, AT&T said preliminary analysis indicated the data covered 7.6 million current AT&T account holders and 65.4 million former customers. This shit makes me sick. Update. An AT&T spokesperson explained why the company scaled down the number of users affected. Quote, "We are sending a communication to each person whose sensitive personal information was included. Some people had more than one account in the data set. Others did not have sensitive personal information," according to the spokesperson. Oh my God, man. They waited 5 years to do anything. And even when they could do something, they didn't. Reminds me a lot of what was happening to T-Mobile. You know how they were getting hacked every couple of months? Same type of bullshit. This has to be one of the worst situations we've seen from hacks from carriers because it went on for so long and they didn't respond. That's really why anyone would be angry at AT&T for this. So basically the takeaway is hacks happen. Carriers are going to get hacked. Banks get hacked. Amazon gets hacked. I mean, Microsoft gets hacked. Like, literally everybody gets hacked. Nobody's saying that it can't happen or it must not happen. It's just going to, right? The hackers are always working their way to get into systems and access people's info. But 5 years to give a shit and give a damn, it's so bad. Such a bad look for AT&T. And of course, this after the network outage from AT&T. Like, stuff's starting to catch up to this company. They need to be more diligent about how they run their business. But this isn't sexy. Dealing with a data breach is not attractive. It doesn't look good publicly. The optics are bad. You know what I mean? Yo, shout out to Gene, longtime member, man. 13 months. Salute to you. It's a great stream. It's like the T-Mobile breach. It is. And there was a time where T-Mobile did something similar to this where they refused to acknowledge the data breach only to later acknowledge the data breach. Why the hell aren't you acknowledging it sooner and then proactively trying to help folks prepare for what could be coming down the pipeline from this? Terrible. Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, move it along. Move it along. 46 minutes into the stream. Let's see if we can pick up the pace here to round out the show. All right, this